On November 26, 1922, British archaeologist Howard Carter, along with Lord Carnarvon, entered the inner chambers of a mysterious tomb, untouched by human hands since the day of its construction. What they saw there was fascinating. The glimmer of gold was everywhere, as the tomb was filled with golden artifacts and decorations. This was the first step in a monumental excavation process that took several years and led to one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of all time, the discovery of the tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. The tomb was filled with riches such as gold shrines, statues, jewelry, weapons, clothing, and many other artifacts. Tutankhamun's body was placed in 3 coffins. The innermost one was made of solid gold, while the 2 outer coffins were made of wood, covered in gold, and adorned with various semi-precious stones. This was the first time a royal tomb from ancient Egypt was discovered so remarkably intact. Unfortunately for the archaeologists who discovered it, there was a belief that a terrible curse would befall anyone who disturbed the pharaoh's tomb. When Howard Carter opened the pharaoh's sarcophagus, he found 2 daggers wrapped near the mummified body of Tutankhamun. The first dagger was wrapped near Tutankhamun's abdomen and was made entirely of gold, with an intricately decorated gold sheath. The second dagger was what truly fascinated archaeologists. It was an iron dagger with a gold sheath and a gold handle. Now, you might wonder why an iron dagger would be more impressive than a gold one. The fact is, finding such an elaborate iron weapon during the Bronze Age was highly unusual. Iron at that time was considered more valuable than gold. Though Egypt's deserts were rich in mineral resources, the only materials ancient Egyptians used and could work with were copper, bronze, and gold. The use of iron in the Nile Valley occurred much later, with the first evidence of iron smelting dating back to the 1st millennium BC, almost half a millennium after Tutankhamun's reign. The dagger itself was of very high quality. Ancient Egyptians knew nothing about iron or how to work it, so how could they create such a delicate and well-crafted artifact from a metal with which they had no experience? The Egyptians didn't take credit for creating the dagger. They referred to it as a gift from the gods. Could it be that the dagger was a gift to the pharaoh from a more advanced civilization? How else could a Bronze Age civilization produce such sophisticated blacksmithing? Daniela Comelli, a physicist specializing in chemical analysis at the Polytechnic University, stated, "The problem with ironwork is related to its high melting point, 1,538 degrees Celsius or 2,800.4 degrees Fahrenheit. That's why early blacksmiths couldn't heat the ore enough to extract iron and couldn't turn it into weapons." Researchers who believed in theories of advanced ancient civilizations predating ancient Egypt and the theory of ancient extraterrestrial visits added this artifact to the list of so-called out-of-place artifacts. Of course, conventional Egyptologists couldn't accept another out-of-place artifact, so they came up with the explanation that the ancient Egyptians obtained the metal from a fallen meteoroid and thus made the dagger. However, there are some problems with this theory. For example, historians have long concluded that the Egyptians lacked the technology to extract metal from meteoroids during the Bronze Age. A fallen meteoroid could contain iron, but that iron would not be in a single cluster. It would be scattered throughout the object, making it very difficult to detect and even harder to extract without advanced technology. And if we assume they somehow managed to extract the metal from the meteoroid, how did they shape it into the dagger, as this was also beyond their capabilities? Researchers were surprised to find that the dagger was completely smooth, with no hammer marks whatsoever. Its edges were highly precise, with no signs of the traditional metalworking techniques used during that period. In 1994, an analysis of the dagger's blade by X-ray fluorescence spectrometry revealed that the dagger was not made of ordinary meteoric iron. Its alloy was highly complex and durable, containing 89% iron, with the remainder comprising nickel, cobalt, and chromium. The nickel content was extremely high, making the blade almost immune to rust. Creating such a complex alloy required advanced alchemical skills that humanity acquired thousands of years later. Could the dagger be a legacy left by an older, more advanced civilization? Or perhaps a gift from an extraterrestrial civilization that visited Egypt? The questions keep piling up, as Tutankhamun's dagger was not the only inexplicable and out-of-place artifact found in the tomb. There was also an intricate breastplate decorated with gold, silver, and various precious stones. The artifact depicted a winged scarab made of a mysterious yellow-green gemstone. Initially, archaeologists thought the gemstone was chalcedony, a common variety of the mineral quartz. When the mystery surrounding the alloy of Tutankhamun's dagger shook the scientific community, specialists began examining the composition of all the artifacts found in the tomb. Apparently, the scarab in the breastplate was not made of regular chalcedony quartz, but of a material that shouldn't exist in this period: desert glass. Desert silica glass is a material that was first discovered in 1945 after the Trinity test, the first detonation of a nuclear bomb in human history. Carried out in the remote desert of New Mexico, the bomb left a 300-foot crater 5 feet deep in the desert. To the scientists' surprise, within the crater, the rough sand of New Mexico had turned into a smooth sheet of bright green glass. This indicated that the bomb generated temperatures of over 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is necessary to melt silica sand into glass. The project team members, believing this glass was a new and unique material not found anywhere else on the planet, took the opportunity to name it Trinitite after the Trinity test. Mysteriously, the same Trinitite, or desert glass, was discovered in large quantities in the Libyan desert. Like the material used to make Tutankhamun's dagger, Libyan desert glass was also explained by a meteor. Scientists claim that a meteorite impact melted the sand into glass, creating this unusual element. The problem with this theory is that the Libyan desert glass was completely pure. If a meteorite impact were the cause of its formation, there would be fragments of iron and other minerals in the glass, which was not the case. Moreover, a meteorite impact leaves a crater, and no crater was found in the area where the glass was located, even after using satellite images. Another theory was that lightning created the desert glass, but again, lightning can only produce small fragments of the material, and in the Libyan desert, there is a vast field of glass that cannot be explained by lightning alone. Could it be that this artifact from Tutankhamun's tomb was also made from material produced by the so-called gods, just like the dagger made of an advanced alloy? Only the gods were capable of unleashing such a powerful explosion to melt a large desert field into smooth glass. It's no wonder the Egyptians worshipped them so devoutly and were considered one of the most religious societies in history. Wouldn't you worship beings with powers thousands of years more advanced than yours? Powers that seem so incredible they can only be perceived as magical and otherworldly. The question is, who are these gods who gifted humanity various blessings and spurred the development of ancient civilizations? And where do they come from? Are they responsible for the inexplicable megaliths that surround the planet? Like the pyramids of Giza, the Bosnian pyramids, Teotihuacan, and all the other giant structures? Or perhaps these structures, along with the artifacts found in Tutankhamun's tomb, weren't of extraterrestrial intelligence, but from an advanced ancient human civilization that developed here on Earth. After all, our history assumes that the human race is wiser and more advanced than ever, but ancient artifacts and monuments seem to suggest that a highly intelligent pre-flood culture may have existed in the distant past, designing these structures and creating these artifacts in ways that primitive humans never could. Perhaps this civilization developed too much and ultimately destroyed itself, leaving only the indestructible stone structures we see today. This makes us wonder, are we as a civilization on the same path to self-destruction? Our technology is making monumental progress, while our spiritual and mental development is declining. Could this technological progress be dangerous for a civilization that still resorts to war and violence to solve political problems? We hope that modern science and archaeology keep an open mind and explore all possibilities regarding ancient discoveries. Rather than suppressing controversial findings, they should examine them further and remain open to all possibilities, even if they break the paradigm. We must learn from our history to avoid repeating it. As US President Theodore Roosevelt once said, "The more you know about the past, the better prepared you are for the future." Humanity's increased use of fossil fuels, massive deforestation in recent years, and increasingly intensive agriculture emitting greenhouse gases like nitrous oxide and methane are pushing our planet toward a climate crisis. Fortunately, there is a way to counter this.